Bat. Chatting with MattTheBat. You chat, I chat, we chat, I'm fat. Chatting with MattTheBat. Yeah!
Hello, everybody. My name is MattTheBat from MattTheBat's Bat Shit Show, and this is yet another episode of Bat Chats. It's the interview series where I chat with my favorite creators and hear all about their perspectives, their process, and just so much more. Hey, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe, and maybe hit that little bell notification, ding, if you're feeling generous. That way you can stay up to date on all of the upcoming episodes. Let's go! This week we have someone who I really admire, not only as a person and a friend, but also as an incredible YouTube host and creator. We have Joelle Park on with us today. She's absolutely crushing it on her YouTube channel and is also the newest, coolest host of BuzzFeed, and she's just been gaining traction across social media for the amazing content that she's making. Everybody please welcome Joelle to the stage. Come on out. Woo!
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
How are you?
Good. It's so nice to see you. It's been so long.
It has been. I'm very glad we could be here today.
Right. What do you think about the set, the applause, everything? It's pretty cool, right?
It's beautiful. It's the most elaborate set I've ever been on.
Thanks. I'm glad to hear that. To explain kind of how we know each other, back in the day, I don't remember what year or so, but I think maybe like 2018,
2019 summer.
2019, we were working at Nickelodeon together, and we were kind of coffee buddies. We would walk down to this shop on 45th Street, and we would, it was called Bird and Branch, and we would just get like cold brew and like talk about careers and stuff like that.
Anything. It was really good coffee. It was always a very good time.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. And like, it's kind of cool to be reconnecting with you now because I've just sort of over the years seen how amazing your career has blossomed. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And likewise, the feeling is very similar. It's cool to see you take off, to even see this coming to fruition after the little sketches I would see you make on Instagram and all of that. This is like a whole nother level of production.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. But let's be real. We're talking about you because you're crushing it on YouTube. Not only, have I been watching you on your channel, but I've also been seeing you on BuzzFeed where you started working a few months ago. And as a result, I've seen your personal channel kind of start to grow and all that stuff. Like, why don't you tell me about how you got started at BuzzFeed? Congrats, it's amazing.
Thank you so much. That is a great question. It was honestly very serendipitous that I came to BuzzFeed. I graduated from college in 2019 after this lovely Nickelodeon internship where Matt and I were able to meet, but I was kind of directionless. Like, I didn't really know where I was going. I knew I wanted to work in entertainment, but I was torn between what side, digital versus traditional, and all of that classic stuff. So I was interning for free, probably illegally, at this commercial production company in San Francisco, looking for full-time jobs since that's where I'm from. And it was actually right when COVID was hitting the US, and things are falling through left and right, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And actually another friend from Viacom, from the Nickelodeon internship that I had, and she told me that her previous boss at BuzzFeed was hiring for a recent college graduate, and she thought I was perfect and referred me for the job. And in like a matter of weeks, I was then a BuzzFeed employee, but on the social strategy side. So I was just publishing things. I really wanted to be on the creative side and was not there, but I learned a lot. And after a year of doing social strategy, I was finally eligible to apply for the video fellowship, which is where I am now. And that just started in March of 2021. So here I am now making videos.
You were a fan of BuzzFeed prior though, right? I think we had talked about it. Like you've obviously been up on like internet culture and, trending, like every video that's trending and stuff like that. Like you were someone I realized I knew a lot about that. So it's kind of a perfect fit for you. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it was. I think it really, it fell in my lap in a way where I didn't realize that it was the perfect place for me, at least for this stage in life. And I'm very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, well, and also, I really do truly, I'm not trying to butter you up because you're my friend, but like, I feel like you're BuzzFeed's perfect host because you're super intelligent. You're really well spoken. You're like you're funny and goofy when you need to be, but you bring like a really adorable excitement to the videos, which I could see throughout the comments. Like people are definitely vibing with you, and like your videos that you've done with BuzzFeed have so many views, and looking at just comparing them to other videos, I see just how well they're doing. And some of those videos have been, just to name a few, parents rate their children's kimchi, which was amazing because your dad is so brutally honest in that video.
Oh my gosh.
And
all the comments about my dad were so funny.
Over salted and put way too much, I don't know, something. I would have to give that a 0 out of 10.
I love it. They loved him too. And like, you bring in, you know, your sisters and things like that. So I think it's cool because you're kind of like building this universe of yourself, which you've been doing on your YouTube channel, because we, you know, in your personal YouTube channel, we learned a lot about your life, but seeing you kind of like bring this universe and build your brand up through these BuzzFeed videos has been like pretty awesome to see so far.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so much fun. I'm really thankful my parents have been down to participate in all of these.
They have no choice. You're in the house. They're like, Mom, you're doing this.
I know. It's like for my career, like, Mom, Dad, you want me to have a job, right? You want me to be employed. Then let's do it.
Right. And so the other video that there's a couple more that you've done so far, but the other one that is probably has the most views is I ate like BTS for a week. And
oh yeah,
it's amazing. It's like 20 minutes or so of you just knowing everything about BTS, and people in the comments are totally loving it and they're totally resonating with you because they're all BTS ARMY stans.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just so funny. And like, you do such a good job of literally like living their lifestyle from small details as much as like, oh, this guy doesn't wear an earring, I'm not gonna wear an earring when I eat his meal. Like stuff like that I just think is hilarious and so perfect.
Thank you so much. There was so many hours of research, which is just watching like fan videos of BTS that went into that video. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, I've been so thankful that BuzzFeed has given me a platform and an opportunity to share about Asian culture, Asian creatives, and media, especially in just the time that we're in. I feel like it was long overdue that someone at BuzzFeed was really giving K-pop and other cultures their shine. And as the only East Asian person on my team, I was really excited to be able to do that. I'm half Korean and I love being able to share parts of almost my childhood, but through the lens of K-pop, which is something that so many people around the world could identify with. And I'm obviously a huge K-pop fan, and I love being able to bring that excitement to the channel and to really reach those fans that just want more content and want to be able to relate with someone who shares that interest. So it's been a really fun series. And now we're able to make that same format of eating like different K-pop stars with all these different groups. And I just have an excuse to bring more K-pop to BuzzFeed and make a lot of really good food. So it's been a lot of fun.
I love that. That's so amazing. And I actually don't know anything about K-pop, so when I watch like the BTS video, I'm like, oh, this is like amazing, and the food looks so good. But I have a story of meeting BTS that I wanted to tell you about.
Oh my god. You can't just drop that on.
I know, and it is phenomenal.
What?
Okay, so I didn't know what K-pop was. Like, I truly did not know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't know, because it's like one of like the most well-loved types of music. Like, people are obsessed with K-pop, and like the culture behind it is so fascinating and all that.
Yeah.
I was actually working at Viacom at the time, and this was probably 2018. I think I was an intern there. I was like still in college, whatever. And I went down the stairs to go get coffee at the place that we get coffee at. And it's crazy. The elevator doors open, and I'm going around the corner, and BTS is in a line straight, like legs moving the same. They're all dressed like beautiful humans, like dressed like so nice. Everything's perfect. Their hair is perfect. And they came around the corner, and I like physically bumped into one of the guys, and I was like, oh, sorry. And then I was so confused because I'm like, wait. And they were all just in a straight line, like across from each other, walking. And they all they looked at me, and they all smiled and nodded their head. And I was like, oh, hey. And I had no clue what was going on. I was like, these dudes are cool. And I had no knowledge of why they were there or who they were.
Oh,
and so
my gosh.
I take the escalator, and as I'm going down the escalator, I see that Times Square is just mobbed with people. Like millions of people, like all on the street, like little kids. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm
That's
like,
hilarious.
At the time, I didn't even connect that it was them. And I go down the stairs, and people are like taking pictures as I'm coming out. Like, I'm like getting blinded by the flash and stuff.
You're probably in those photos. You're in someone's photos of BTS.
Right. And just because I came out of the building, all these kids were interested in talking to me, and I'm like, what is going on? So I quickly go around the corner to try to get out of it. And then I see a giant BTS tour bus, and I'm like, BTS?
Wow.
And so I look on Instagram, and I type in BTS, and I see who they are, and I go, oh my God, those are the guys I just met in the lobby that I physically slammed into.
Physically ran into them.
It was crazy. I literally had never heard of them. And then I messaged my friend who I saw was following them, and I was like, oh my God, do you know these people? Like, I literally just saw them at work. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, she's like freaking out.
Oh
but yeah,
my god.
That's my story about meeting BTS.
That blows my mind, and I'm so jealous. You have no idea. Okay, BTS is like one of the main celebrities I would love to work with. They come to BuzzFeed every now and then for interviews and stuff like that. So literally, I'm trying to learn Korean right now because I didn't grow up speaking Korean. And I'm like, when BTS comes to BuzzFeed next, I will speak fluent Korean. We will have a conversation. I will help produce that video, whatever it takes, because I like admire their work so much. And I'm literally, oh my gosh, I'm so shook. I'm so jealous. Obviously, like,
have they seen your video?
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure they have so many millions of videos and like hours of footage and like different media surrounding them that they have other things to do. I will say though, a funny thing that came out of this video was that Koreaboo, which is like a Korean K-pop fan site, wrote up an article on my video. So they also write up obviously all the K-pop news. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm on Koreaboo now. Even the name of the website itself makes me laugh, just like Koreaboo, but it was very interesting, and I was like shocked and very grateful for the response that people were so interested in this content.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the beauty of BuzzFeed, I guess, right? Like I actually was like off YouTube for so long, so I didn't even know how big of a thing BuzzFeed was until I started working with my friend Eric Tabak, which was like, he was an old, host back on BuzzFeed, and he was like a really popular one. And he kind of explained to me,
BuzzFeed.
Right? He kind of explained to me kind of like the culture behind BuzzFeed and just how big it is, and just like, and I started getting back into his videos, watching them, and I was like, oh, I really like a lot of the stuff that they're doing. So it's really interesting that you can be able to like work with BuzzFeed and like get your name out there and really just be able to have people see it in Korea, and like Korean publications are talking about it. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see, kind of like you were talking about, the way that BuzzFeed, just having the BuzzFeed name elevates anything. I could have made the exact same video for my own personal channel and just wouldn't have reached the same level of people or brought together fans in the same way. So I'm really grateful to have BuzzFeed for that, because I love engaging with people, and even just getting DMs from people who are really inspired to try the recipes I make, or just really love seeing a Western publication cover K-pop in a respectful way. So I really value that kind of feedback, and just being able to like do that for my community, I guess.
You're a little humble about your own channel, because looking at your own channel, you have over 10,000 subscribers and you have 1.2 million channel views. So I mean,
oh my gosh,
that's a big number. How does that feel? Like, how does it feel when you see those numbers? Is it kind of insane?
It's, it was really, really crazy to hit 10,000 subscribers. I started this YouTube channel in a really awkward teeny bopper phase, like beginning of high school, super uncomfortable, like definitely the awkward stage of just figuring out how to speak to a camera, how to edit, and learning things very much as I go. So it's like humbling that many people would care to subscribe and come back for content that I make. I will say it's definitely one of those things though, where as you grow, and I think a lot of people who work in media can relate to this, like once you grow, you're always thinking about the next milestone. So I feel like I constantly have to remind myself to be grateful for where I am. And that cheesy quote, like, remember when you wanted what you have now? I definitely need to do that a lot for myself, and just say, this is crazy. Like 10,000 people is a lot of people, and I am so grateful for that. And I need to take time to like really appreciate that, even while I'm like striving towards those next goals and those next milestones that come to mind.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
so it's definitely mixed emotions sometimes.
I get that. That's no small feat. And I think that, I think you're a year younger than me. We grew up in a different YouTube world. Like we grew up in the world of YouTube, where it was really hard to go viral in daily life. Like now we have things like TikTok, and you can go viral overnight and be a sensation, and then everything else in your life sort of becomes just another aspect of like that TikTok. So like you get famous for singing this song in Disney Princess. I don't know why that came to mind, but like you sing a song, like
people love Disney,
right? And then like after that, people are looking you up on YouTube, like all these different things. But when we were younger, people went viral and stuff, but it wasn't that viral sensation. Like people had to like build up their YouTube channel, and like, so I think that you and I come from the perspective of like really working hard, because when I look at your channel, I see you do pretty much weekly uploads, or
I try.
Yeah,
I attempt.
How do you manage that on top of now having to make these for BuzzFeed and making like these massive videos that have, you know, like professional graphics made and all these different things you have access to now. Like, and it's a 9 to 5, I would assume, right?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think that's sort of a constant struggle, especially for anyone who considers himself a creative, which is, you know, can mean a lot of different things. But I definitely had to take time off of my personal YouTube right when I started working at BuzzFeed, because I was just feeling so overwhelmed and like burnt out by like having to be creative and just being in editing software all the time. Like that alone of just spending 8 hours on Premiere and then logging off my work laptop, opening up my personal laptop and thinking about being, you know, another 5 hours in my own editing process was a lot. And it kind of, you know, at times could take the joy out of it. So I took actually like a month-long break from YouTube right when I started this new role at BuzzFeed, just to kind of think about and evaluate like how I'm spending my time and what I really find important. And I also had to delineate for myself personally, like what is the type of content that I would put on BuzzFeed and what would I put on my personal channel, and how I can separate those two things, like emotionally almost, where my BuzzFeed videos still have like my personal touch and my brand or whatever you would want to call it. And then my personal channel has things that are like also deeply personal to me, but in another way. So I think learning how to separate those things made it a little easier, where I'd find them to be refreshing rather than just really repetitive and exhausting. So my personal channel is definitely taking a little bit of a turn. It's a lot more vlog heavy now versus more produced content. And just given the stage in life I'm at right now, like that's what I really value about my personal channel, is that I'm able to document where I am in life right now. And then it allows more of that creative energy to go into BuzzFeed videos. So it just doesn't feel like I'm trying to do two versions of the same thing, but they're just completely different types of projects that I get to work on and, you know, stay creative with.
I mean, that makes sense to me. And also it's just such a good thing for your new fans to have when they see you on a BuzzFeed video and they're like, I like this girl, I'm gonna go check her out. And then they get to see kind of like who you are behind the scenes. They get to hear about like your career advice, which you give out on your channel. They get to hear about like all your updates within, you know, working for BuzzFeed and elsewhere, like your relationship, like all these different things that they want to know about, because you essentially become this like, you know, someone that people look up to and want to learn more about. Like you become that influencer or whatever. And like, I think like, I don't know if you've really thought about it like I think about it like this, but you're about to see so much more of that and so much more traffic of people who are interested, because that's what I've seen happen with my friend Eric. Was like, he became so big on BuzzFeed, and like it's to the point where whenever I hang out with him, we'll be out in public and people stop him on the street multiple times. Like it's like, I'm not even joking, like everywhere we would go, people would stop asking for photos. They'd be like, oh my god, you're the guy from BuzzFeed. Like,
wow,
yeah,
good for you, Eric. That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, for him, he's a little bit jaded towards BuzzFeed, but for someone like you, who is like, you know, you're taking it with so much pride and like you're really excited about it, it's cool to see kind of like that you have that kind of as stepping stones in front of you to like keep moving and, you know, enhancing your brand even further.
Yeah, no, I am very excited. I definitely am wary though of seeing a lot of former producers who do get jaded, and I'm like, wow, I have to be really intentional about like protecting my mental health and just like staying balanced, because you know, careers are long and I can't get burnt out too early. So need to find a way to stay consistent and find fulfillment in everything.
Yeah, well, I think also the like BuzzFeed machine has changed a little bit for the better too, because like now I see that you're able to put in your username and stuff like that. Like I think back in the day, the way they handled creators and stuff like that was a little bit different. And the only reason why I know about this is because I just listened to Tighe Guys did a podcast when they talked about it. And they're saying like it's, you know, the best company to work for as a young creative, because you're just in this pool of like insanely talented people who all want to make stuff, and they're finally given the resources to make things. And I think that since the culture has been for some people to leave and make the Why I Left BuzzFeed video, it's like they now BuzzFeed wants to like really build up their creators and like make sure that everyone knows who you are. And I think that's the greatest thing they could ever do, and it's going to make people like you so much happier when you work for them. Yeah,
I definitely feel really bad for a lot of the creators I see make those Why I Left BuzzFeed videos, because I agree, it was definitely a different time, and I think the leadership had to learn kind of the hard way of a lot of people leaving, saying like, oh, we like we're losing this talent. Like they were so creative and provided so much for the company, and there's a reason why people leave, sometimes on better terms, sometimes on worse terms. But I'm glad that the leadership has like taken that under consideration and being like, maybe we should implement some changes, just because the landscape even of YouTube has changed so much since BuzzFeed first started. Like their first videos were like compilation videos and like random memes and stuff. So things have really had to adapt to the times, I feel like.
Who did you grow up on in terms of YouTube? Like who are those people that inspired you? And we were talking about before, like lack of representation at a lot of these media companies. Like, did you have any Asian American or just Asian like YouTubers that you watched in general that you really looked up to?
Yeah, definitely. I would say almost all of the creators that I initially watched on YouTube were Asian, because I was so fascinated with seeing Asian people be creative for the first time. Like it was just such a different time where like we had, I guess, like Lucy Liu and Brenda Song on Disney Channel and stuff like that. But it was just so like few and far between. Like the fact that I can name almost all of them that I grew up with is sad to me. So when I first got into YouTube, I started watching YouTube early. It was like the Ryan Higa, Michelle Phan days when I was little, and I was so fascinated by YouTube. And then as I grew up, I'd watch a lot of like beauty content creators like Jen Im, who really inspired me to make my YouTube channel in the first place. And then on BuzzFeed, I remember loving watching Eugene, obviously, of the Try Guys, and like Ashley Perez, and seeing them in this, you know, kind of character universe of BuzzFeed and having their own personal style and perspective. And even in college, seeing Stephen Lim on Worth It, which was my favorite BuzzFeed show before starting working there. It was just really exciting to see all these people have opportunities that I don't think would have been given the same platform in traditional Hollywood. So they really, those were absolutely the people that like paved the way that inspired me to get to where I am now.
Well, totally. And you know, I've never, you know, this here's my privilege shining through, but I had never thought about how YouTube can be kind of like the first space where people are able to live at like, or present themselves as they would like to, not within the traditional molds of the Hollywood stereotypes, which we see so often in television and like what we grew up on watching, which is crazy. So like to be able to come to YouTube and just show people this is who I really am, especially for people who are like me, who grew up in a very white suburb, like that's so important to see that. And like, I don't know, I think it's just really cool that you're going to be able to like bring your culture to all these new people of BuzzFeed and show them these like Korean dishes and stuff like that. That's just like awesome to me.
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, I'm really thankful for it. It's like, you know, 10 years ago, I couldn't have seen myself here at all. So it's been a wild ride.
Will you go back to the office at some point?
I think they're hoping to open offices in September. Fun fact though, I'm actually currently like on a contract with BuzzFeed that does have an end date around September. And the idea though is that we're all in this contract and they'll convert us to full time in September. However, if you see me disappear from all the BuzzFeed videos in September, you'll know what happened. So as definitely as like a young professional person learning the media landscape, I know that this is regular. Like it's common for people to start on a contract and get converted to full time, but you know, there's always a level of uncertainty of like, even though you're doing good work, maybe you just don't have the budget to hire a new person and then someone has to go. So living with a lot of uncertainty, but learning to be like comfortable with that and just kind of going with the flow.
Obviously you're doing great work, and you know what, for some reason if they don't, it's their loss, and we're still all going to watch you on your personal channel because it's awesome. And it's like, I would say it's even more personal to you as a creator, as you mentioned. So yeah, I mean, we'll be looking out for that. I mean, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. If there's anything else you'd like to promote, like I'm going to throw your info below, but is there anything else you want to get out there into the world?
I mean, of all the things I can think of course, YouTube is just Joelle1, TikTok and Instagram are both at JoelleOL, and then Twitter is at JoelleOL_. And additionally, if you are interested in Asian American content, I've been working on the Asian American vertical at BuzzFeed called APOP. So it's at BuzzFeed APOP. We're all doing it on a volunteer basis. It is just a bunch of employees at BuzzFeed that really care about elevating Asian culture, Asian stories, and Asian creatives. So would really appreciate if anyone values that as well, then come find us on Instagram and TikTok, and hopefully we make things that you'll enjoy watching and reading.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. All those links are going to be listed below. It's been such an honor to chat with you at the beginning of all this, because I really do think you're going to go very far. And like, yeah, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, make sure to smash that like button and absolutely fucking destroy the subscribe button and the little bell notification. Ding!
I have high hopes for where this is going as well. It's been really cool seeing you take off, Matt. So
thank
you for having me.
Of course, anytime. And like, I look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you, and likewise.
Well, everybody, I'm MattTheBat from MattTheBat's Bat Shit Show. So make sure to tune in next week, or else.
Or what?
This is where you say or else.
Oh, or else.
Amazing. Thank you so much.